Yeah. If you're coming for game dev advice, what I learned, other than what I put in my first devlog video, was you have to know where you're coming from, where you are, and where you're going, and you have to stay on top of it. So, for example, right now, for my game, for my project, I spent 6 years essentially just developing the code base, the structures, the actual systemic level functionality of everything. And now I'm at the point where I'm sick of prototyping with cubes and seeing my systems work with cubes and with placeholder UI and looking atrocious, and I'm ready to start my Steam page to actually draw in, interest and get people to start wishlisting it. So in order to make my Steam page, I need visuals that I can make the Steam page show what the game's going to be. Which is why this year so far I've been working on the world map primarily, as well as a few other visual things. Up until this point, my main focus was getting functional systems that do what I want them to do the way I want them to do them. And now that I've got most of that ironed out, I need to be able to actually, show what's going on and actually have it look like a game, because before you take money from individuals, you have to give them something. For publishers, it's before you take money from them, you have to give them A, proof that you're going to release a thing, and B, stuff once you release it. Like, most developers, whenever they're dealing with publishers for the first time, and they're an unknown developer, publishers sometimes offer them really ludicrous terms, like, oh yeah, we'll give you $40,000 up front, and then we'll take 100% of revenue until we recoup our investment, then we take a 50-50 split, or something ridiculous like that. So, you always have to give somebody something. It really bugs me whenever developers have a Patreon or go to Kickstarter with nothing but pipe dreams. And I mean that in the nicest way possible, but I've seen so many Kickstarter projects, including the 2 Kickstarter projects that were supposed to make sequels to Brigandine, that prompted my start as a game developer. It sits wrong with me that people would take other people's money and then end up giving them nothing. That's not the way it works. I started my entire project with the firm decision of, I'm going to have something tangible that people can play before I even try to monetize in any way, shape, or form. And true to that, I worked for the last 6 years making a functioning system. It's not a game yet. It's not a game. Games require art, games require balance, games require content. I have developed a system. It works. It does exactly what I want it to do. For the most part, there's additional functionality that I want to add that it does not yet do. But for the most part, baseline, hex grid, combat with units that have stats, that have abilities, that work as part of units that are tied to a unit. The units that are tied to that unit can die permanently. The unit that is tied to cannot be, killed permanently. All these core things that make Brigandine combat, I have. They work. Unfortunately, I can't show a prototype with all the, cubes and ugly square UI with, no colors and just black on white, because my computer died last year and I lost all that. But I still have all my scripts, so I still have all the code, and I know the code works. I just have to plug it in and put the work in to add the pieces that go to the code to make it work. So, I would say I'm, definitely past the planning stage at this point. I'm at the implementation stage. And still, even at the implementation stage, I'm not comfortable with the idea of taking people's money. Because I cannot hand them something that they can play with. If I had something that was, you know, a little ugly, a little broken, but still functioned as a game and was enjoyable to mess with, I would be, you know, less opposed to any of that.